Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Sim500's Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series live from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Alongside John Mush and I am Ben Kilcrease, Mitch Rolo, getting a picture that you see to you. And here we go, John. We're live from Indy this week, the Brickyard. 2.5 miles. It ties the biggest track on the circuit. We're going 66 laps tonight here at the Brickyard, and we've been watching practice, John. These guys have been 3 and 4 wide using that draft down these long straightaways. This is going to be a fun race.
Absolutely, Ben. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of the most historic tracks we have on the circuit, and the weather looks great today. It's nice and sunny outside. The track temp's a little on the high side at 110, but qualifying's underway, and we'll get these boys on track here shortly for some excitement.
So let's take a look here in the Sim Racing Network pre-race show at the Fast Track Sims track facts for tonight. Speedway, Indiana is where we're located this evening. 2.5 miles with those turns, John, though. Only about 9 degrees of banking, so these guys have really got to get it woed up down in the corners. And we apologize for the track facts there. Technical difficulty on our end on that part, but nonetheless, John, down in the turns, you really got to get these cars woed up. And if you miss your apex here at Indianapolis, there's 4 all around the racetrack. So if you miss any one of those apexes, John, it's going to mess you up for a lap or two.
Yeah, absolutely. These tracks, I took some laps today in this car, Ben. You're going to be going down into turns 1 and 3 at about 195 miles an hour on a good lap. And you're going to get that thing mowed all the way down to about 165, 160, somewhere in there, through the short chutes at about 160, and then off the exit of turn 2 and 4 there. Really important to get a good exit off 2 and 4, because that affects you all the way down that front stretch and back stretch. So we'll see some guys, entering a little shallow maybe and trying to arc it off a little bit shallow coming into the short chute and whatnot. Sorry, I'm having technical issues of my own here. I just lost my screen.
So we'll talk about the championship standings coming into tonight. Some big happenings up in the front of or on the top of the pylon for the championship standings. John, Steve Sheehan, who leads the championship standings heading into tonight, 45 points over Chad Coleman. John, Sheehan has not yet showed up for tonight's event, and if that's the case, if he does not show up, he is most definitely going to lose that points lead. It depends on how Coleman runs tonight. If Coleman finishes good, he is in jeopardy of losing that championship lead to Coleman in the number 20 tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep an eye on if Sheehan does make his way into the race server at the last minute, or if Coleman's just going to try and have a good, smooth, clean race and try and take the points lead.
I mean, even if he makes it in, Ben, I think he's got to start in the rear anyway for missing drivers' meetings. So yep. He'll have a rough road ahead of him, even if he does make it in. But that's a big if, because he is right now running out of time. It's just about down to the end of qualifying here, and if he's not on track before qualifying is over, he's not getting in.
Absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you updated over the course of the night as far as how Coleman's doing and all the other drivers involved in the championship fight. You can see the full standings at sim500.com. Just a brief overrun. Sheehan leads, Coleman second, 45 points back. Third is Byron Daly, 137 points back. Fourth, Nelson Rivera, 141, and Mike Kelly is 167 points back in fifth. So let's before we get going here on the Sim Racing Network at Indy, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway right here on the Sim Racing Network. So glad you've tuned in with us here on our YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe to us and hit that like button. Let us know that you're tuning in, and if you do subscribe, be sure to turn on notifications so you can be notified whenever we go live right here at the Sim Racing Network. If you're on Facebook, be sure to give us a like. All you have to do is head to facebook.com/The Sim Racing Network. And John, if you're a short track fan, we got some exciting stuff going on over at the
Oh, yes, we do.
simracingnetwork.com. Just be sure to head over to the events page and click on the Hometown Heroes series. And boy, that's really gonna be fun. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the race. But right now, it's time to run the fans through the starting lineup presented by RacingBids.com. And leading to the green flag with a quick time of 51.091, it's the number 42 of David Comstock. To his outside, it'll be the number 10 of Trey Edson.
And bringing in their third, the number 90 car of Pedro Mojica on the inside of row 2. On the outside of row 2 in fourth place, the number 99 of Tommy Ryan.
Inside of row number 3, Bobby Wenzel will roll off into number 9. To his outside, it'll be Donnie Leah in that number 18.
And bringing in the inside row of row 4 in seventh place, Nathan Little. Somebody we haven't talked a whole lot about this season so far, Ben, in the 78 car. He's looking for a better run tonight. And then outside of him on number 8 position will be the 22 car of Nelson Rivera.
Fifth row inside will be the 20 of Chad Coleman, who's trying to have a good run here tonight and hopefully take over that championship lead. That's what he wants to see happen. And then right outside of him will be the number 8 of Randy Yoakum. That rounds out the top 10. The rest of the starting grid going to roll across the bottom of your screen. And John, let's see if we can dial up a driver tonight here during our parade lap. We'll wait for the admin to kind of hush up here so we don't interrupt anything there. But nonetheless, John, we'll see if we can't talk to Donnie Lee in the number 18 here in a second.
Sounds good. Tell you what, Ben, I love this track. It was I did some laps on it earlier today. It's fun, especially in this K&N car. It's got some great grip going down in the turns, but if you, like you said earlier, if you miss your apex, look out.
It's going to be a fun race for sure. And the draft here, we always talk about the draft with these cars because it really does, it plays a huge factor with these cars. These cars suck up the most of any stock cars I think we have on the service, and it really makes for some awesome racing. We saw that last week at Michigan, John, how fantastic the racing was with the draft package there. But the admin has finished the drivers meeting there, and we'll see if we can't dial up the driver, number 18, Donnie Leah, Ben Kilcrease up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how are you?
Sitting good up here in the booth, Donnie, as are you, down starting 6th here for this race at Indianapolis. Now you are starting 6th in a 66-lap race. I just noticed that. Are you one of those kind of guys that read into that kind of stuff?
I try not to, you know. The whole green race car and peanuts at the racetrack deal is. I've always tried to listen to that stuff, but nah, it's whatever it is. But hopefully, just have a good run tonight. You know, stay out of trouble. I seem to be getting myself into trouble there every week. So, but this should be a lot of fun. I want to thank you guys for covering it, and I want to thank Joey and everybody at Sim500 for allowing me to race with everybody. It's a lot of fun.
Good deal, Donnie. Well, thanks for chatting with us, and hopefully we'll talk to you a little bit later on tonight. Good luck in the race.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That's Donnie Lee, a driver of the number 18. It's getting set to roll off of the outside of row number 3. And here we go. They head through the short chute. You'll hear us refer to that all night long. That's the very sliver of a straightaway between turns 3 and turn number 4. Here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Watch the pace car when he goes to pit road here, John. We may see green flag pit stops in this race, and this is a very tricky pit road to get down. But nonetheless, here we go. Pace car ducks down. Field in control of David Comstock. We're 2 by 2 by 2. We are underway in the FEG Series at the Brickyard.
Comstock's off to a great start there. Didn't spin his tires or anything. He's got Edson outside. Edson's got himself a new paint job this week there, Ben. He's got the Bass Pro Shops on board. Behind them, we have Pedro in the number 90 car, still fighting for his third spot there. And just beside him, Tommy Ryan, the 99.
Ryan up trying to use the outside groove early on here at Indy. And, John, we've seen in the Sunday Winter Series here at Sim500 with the Cup car, that outside line is okay for the first couple of laps on the newer tires. But once these tires get some wear on them, you want to get single file. And right now Bobby Wetzel going to go around in the number 9, and the first caution is going to fly, and they pile in. It's a big one here in turn number 3 at Indy.
Man, that took a lot of cars right there, Ben. That's tough news right there. Looks like Wetzel just got loose going into the turn there.
Byron Daly involved. And my, oh my, what about that to start this race off? We'll see if we can get the replay pulled up with
Oh, it
Bobby.
looked like he might have come down on the 78 there.
Just a moment, or just an instant there of the 78 car of Nathan Little. Just, I don't want to say he drove it in too hard, John, but he does drive it in to turn 3 a little bit deeper than maybe Wetzel was expecting him to do. Just a little bit of miscommunication and just some drivers coming together, battling for position early on here at Indy.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate. We call that a racing deal, Ben. Unfortunately, for folks who aren't familiar with iRacing and the way it works, you have an in-game spotter, an in-sim spotter, and it's a part of the programming on the spotter is that it determines when you're clear by how much distance is between you and the car behind you or beside you. And unfortunately, if you don't have that setting just right, you go into that corner and it's telling you you're clear, and then all of a sudden you're not. It doesn't have time to tell you that. But you can also have a human spotter, Ben, which a lot of these guys have started to pick up on recently.
Absolutely. And we talked to Donnie Leah, said he just wanted to stay out of the mix of things tonight. Well, John, he was just in front of that incident there and barely was able to escape. Nonetheless, though, caution out for the first time. You see a couple of cars heading down pit road. Jason Jacoby, one of those. Bobby Wetzel involved, and quite a few other cars. We'll try and get you all the numbers on those. Tonight's race is being brought to you by the Ford Entertainment Group. If you are in the market for a new gaming computer, be sure to contact Jeffrey Ford on the iRacing PMs or message them through their Facebook Facebook page. There we go, John. I'll get it out here sooner or later. Just search Ford Entertainment Group on Facebook. Give them a like while you're there as well. John, the driver with the most completed laps at the end of the season, going to get a computer capable of VR or 3 screens from FEG. So we're really looking forward to seeing who's going to pick up that prize, and we're keeping tabs on it. We'll update you at the end of the night who sits where in that tally. But nonetheless, first caution here of the night, and a lot of cars torn up. Randy Yoakum, Nick Timms, Glenn Campbell was involved. Michael Keaton there in the 7, a lot of damage. We mentioned Byron Daly, the 27, Todd Aaliyah, Brad Bothwell, a little bit of damage. So I'd say a good 6, 7, 8 cars involved in a mini big one down in turn number 3 on lap 1 here at Indy.
And I don't know what happened to the 68. Sean Dewar just now coming down the front stretch there, Ben, but he had a little bit of minor damage from that incident, but coming down the front stretch just now, he just smacked the inside wall hard enough to really do some severe damage to that left front.
Wow. So could be an instance where we saw something similar to that in the Snowball Showdown.
Right, when he lost the steering wheel there.
Yeah, just lost the screen or the steering wheel came unplugged, and it could have been the situation there with the 68 of Dewar, but nonetheless picking up damage under caution. So that's not the way he wanted to start his night off, just like those that were involved in the incident.
I don't know how many of our viewers have ever or remember that time back at Dega when Dale Jr.'s steering wheel came off. Remember that? He was temporarily driving with his hands. Well, we have the equivalent of that in sim racing, folks, when our steering wheels mysteriously lose power, or the cat decides to unplug them from the wall, or some odd thing like that, and you find yourself going down the track at 190 miles an hour with no way to control it. It's not a very good feeling.
I would become a dog owner if the cat unplugged my wheel mid-race.
Man, I was in a league race one time where a guy's dog literally chewed through his, I think it was his Bodnar cable for his wheel, if I'm not mistaken. Ah, man, that was, ouch. That's an expensive piece right there.
You hear it all in sim racing.
You really do. Yeah, you really
when
do.
It comes to reasons why the parts fail.
My favorite one was I had a guy whose wife came in and literally pulled the plug on his computer one night.
That happens.
Yep.
That's why you got to treat them well.
That's right.
Our producer made a comment on that, but we'll get back to the race here now at Indianapolis. 2x2 set for restart. Lap number 4 here, John. We have a big wreck. What do you think these guys are going to do? I know I always ask you this, so just tell me what you think they're not going to do, and that's what they will do.
That's right. I don't think they're going to race. No, I'm kidding. We're going to see some. We're going to probably see them try and take it easy this time, Ben. That was an unfortunate incident right there. We got some cloud cover moving over the track now, so that's going to increase grip a little bit. Increase grip a little bit once the track cools down if the sun stays hidden like that. So we're going to go green here, and they're going to race. That's what I'm saying.
So we'll see what happens in that race, which is set to get restarted here with 62 laps to go at the Brickyards. And checkups going on at the back of the field there. Almost some contact, but nonetheless, green flag back in the air. And good restart for Edson there in the 10. He almost was going to drag race the 42 down into turn number 1, but Comstock going to get out to an early lead as they race down into turn number 1. Mojica's going to clear the 99, and that'll set up Donnie Leon at number 18 to battle side by side for the 4th spot.
Yep, Donnie's pushing that inside groove real good. Tommy Ryan stuck to the outside, that 9-9, so he's going to get down in behind the 18 of Leah. In the meantime, back up front, the 10 car pulls way down to the inside there. I don't know what that was all about, but it cost him a little bit of space there, Ben. He gave up a good car length to the leader there of Comstock.
Could be trying to break the draft. We see that in the real-life Cup Series. In these cars, it's definitely a thing. You can break the draft if you pull down and out of the slipstream from the guy behind you. Look at this battle back here between Coleman, Rivera, Hightower, and O'Rourke's in it. They were almost 3 wide down the back straightaway, and here comes Hightower looking to make that battle for the 8th position a little bit more warm as they race to turn 1. Almost some contact there as Rivera gonna slide in behind that 25 for the time being, and they'll go single file through turn number 2.
If there's one thing we've noticed about these guys in the FEG series here, Ben, is that they don't understand or care for the meaning of the word chill or relax or let's take it easy. They race every single lap there on this track, and I love it. And they race smart too. I mean, we don't see very many mistakes anymore like we did at the beginning of the series. These guys have gotten to know each other now, gotten to know who drives in what manner, and it's been really entertaining to watch these guys run.
That it has. Joey Jatina making a pass on the 5 of Terrell. That would be for the 11th position mid-pack, and we focus on a couple of these cars back here, John, that were involved in that incident. One being Jason Jacoby trying to make his way back through the field. He sits 18th right now, trying to work his way up to 17th and possibly back into the top 15.
That's right. Last night's winner in the Joe Gibbs Racing Series that we do, Jason Jacoby, Mr. Excitement. He's got some damage on that car. He got into the back of another car in that first incident that brought the first caution, but he's not letting that slow him down, Ben. He's making his way back up, it looks like. We're trying to, anyway.
That he is, as we kind of get singled out through most of the field here at Indy, and that'll be the case for most of the night. This, not like a Michigan. You can't really battle a whole lot side by side here, John, because it's just so tedious. That wall comes up real quick off of turn number 2, or really throughout all corners. It gets tight on corner exits, so we really can't go side by side for too long. But nonetheless, we continue to watch some battles. One car getting up into the wall looks to be okay for now. As we circle through the back of the field here, some great battles going on. Bobby Wetzel in that number 9 machine, John, making his way up to 22nd. He got turned around, but that car still looks pretty.
68 is riding the wall hard. Look at this, man. Wow.
Yeah, up and into the wall, and veteran move there to keep the car up against the wall and not try and save it and end up coming across the traffic there. So Dewar having that malfunction under caution is now going to cost him quite a few positions under green here at Indy, and we could expect to see him on pit road over the next lap or so.
Yeah, he's having a rough run, man. I feel bad for Sean in that 68 car, that old school motorsports entry. That's tough luck. But you're right, that was a better move to keep it up on the wall and not come down across the field and cause an even bigger problem. So he's going to duck into pits right there and get his damage fixed, hopefully, and still try and stay out there and get some laps in.
Championship contender Byron Daly trying to work through the field. Now his car doesn't look as good as Bobby Wetzel's. He's got some damage on the right front and the rear end of that 08 machine, as he was one of those cars spinning in that first caution and involved early on here at the Brickyard. He's working on the tail bump, the rear end, the rear bumper of the number 94 of Jonathan Morrison as they work off turn number 4, and those guys are kind of reeling in that little pack in front of him, which includes Jason Jacoby and Bob Gillenwater, Richard Swavely, and Jonathan Lockhart, who sits 15th. Speaking of that battle, here it's shaping up for that top 15 position. Jacoby to the inside of the number 6 machine. This is Jacoby trying to make it back into the top 15 after being involved in that first caution.
And Jason's putting on a show right here, folks, of what the best way is to pass Indy. You draft up on the car you're trying to get by. Behind them, they're going 3 wide. Wow. They get that sorted out back down to 2 wide. But as I was saying, Ben, you draft up on that car in front of you. You get as good of a run as you can coming off of turn 2 or turn 4. You get up alongside them going down the straightaway, and hopefully they'll yield that to you once you get up alongside them on the inside line, and you pass them through going down into 1 and through the short chute and then come off of 2, or on the other side of the track 3 and 4.
Yeah, you really want to try and get them cleared in the short chute, because if you head into one of those exit turns, turns 2 or 4, it really gets difficult with the apex and how you have to hit it there coming out of the short chute. Let's go back up to the front with the battle with Donnie Leah, Tommy Ryan, Chad Coleman. These guys been going at it for a couple laps here, using each other's draft to try and make a move, and Donnie Leah holds on to that 4th spot now, but here comes Ryan in that 99. He's closing in, as is Coleman, who needs just a smooth, clean race. 6th position would definitely send him into the points lead, leaving Indy tonight.
Absolutely. I was just about to comment on that a minute ago. I think Coleman is of the mindset that he just wants to have as clean a race as possible, not give up any spots if he can avoid it, but just really try not to mix it up too hard. Because if he's smart about this, like you said, he's going to walk away with the points lead tonight. And that's big. I mean, that's really big.
Absolutely. Seeing as though the winner of the race receives 185 points, second gets 170, and then so on after that, with, just for example, 32 receiving 67 points. So all he has to do, I mean, he could finish outside the top 30 and still end up taking the points lead from Steve Sheehan tonight, but he's going to want to finish up here in the top 5, which is what he's battling for right now, and he's going to make quick work. Oh, he gets sideways. A close call there for the driver continuing to take over the championship lead. Chad Coleman into 20.
And he opens the door up for the 25 of Hightower to get inside Tommy Ryan. But, man, that was close, Ben. I mean, I kind of stopped breathing for a second there.
Close call indeed. Man, Tommy Ryan, I thought he was going to turn across the nose of Hightower. Hightower had to put the brakes on heading into turn number 1.
Yeah, I think the 99 had enough of this. He's still going to lose that spot to Hightower. It looks like Hightower's got the preferred line coming down through that turn. Exiting it, going on the backstretch there. But I tell you what, Tommy is not going to give it up. He's just about had enough of this getting past.
We mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, John. Once these tires start getting wear, that outside line, not where you want to be. I was up there a couple times in the Sunday series, so I know how these guys are feeling. It starts to drift closer and closer to that safer barrier coming off the turns. It really affects how you drive the car, and you have to get yourself in a different mindset if you're going to do battle side by side for a couple laps. You almost have to relearn the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really crazy is you said, I think last night, as a matter of fact, last night's race, Ben, if this thing goes green for the entire fuel run, you get used to driving that car like that, after so many laps of being loose and slip and the tires being worn out. And then you go in, you get brand new tires, you come out, you're like, oh my God, this is a completely different car now. So it can throw you off, So that's another thing these guys get to look at. And we just lost Chris Shivu. His received throughput fell through. I feel bad when a guy gets kicked for that.
Yeah, it's got to be a disappointing night if that ends up happening. Joey Jatina has worked his way up tonight, and he's bringing J.D. Laird and that number 46 with him as those guys battle there for a spot inside the top 10. 4 cars tail to nose down the front straightaway. Now, John, we've been corrected. I don't know if you say tail to nose or nose to tail. I really don't pay attention that much when you're talking. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But nonetheless, it's a big debate. A lot of guys say it's nose to tail. I've been brought up saying tail to nose, or I've kind of made a name for myself, I suppose, saying tail to nose. So, what do you say, John?
Well, I'm not real sure I'm allowed to say what I usually say on the air, But we'll play it politically correct, and he's riding his butt.
Oh my! So we'll say nose to tail for John.
Say bumper to bumper up the Southside Speedway in Virginia.
Bumper to bumper. Yeah, it makes it simple.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. Unless you got guys like our producer who's a little anal retentive and you want to specify which bumper it is. But I'm kidding, Mitch. I love you, brother.
Front bumper to rear bumper to front bumper.
Say that a few times.
Then it gets really fun.
I tell you, man, a guy that needs a good run tonight is Joey Gattina. You know, he's we've talked about it in the TS with him. He's had a really horrible run of luck lately, but he's looking good up there in ninth right now.
Looking good for now as JD Laird all over the rear bumper of that number 14 machine, trying to get around him as they work bumper to bumper down into turn number 3. Just doesn't feel right.
That 46 is looking real strong this late in the run too, though. I'll tell you, JD Laird's another one. We don't talk about many of these guys often this week because they have such runs of bad luck. Pit stops bite them in the butt early on in the run, so they wind up, running back of the field. But it's good to see the 46 up there run so strong right now in 10th.
Absolutely. Those guys continuing to run tail to nose here at Indianapolis. Up front, you're not missing anything. It's David Comstock leading the way as we're closing in on the 1/3 mark here at the Brickyard. You're watching the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series live right here on the Sim Racing Network. We'll be back after this.
All right, Watson, let's analyze the chemicals in this cigarette smoke. Cadmium?
Check.
Formaldehyde?
Check.
Arsenic?
Sir, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Yeah, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Oh, what was I thinking, sir? It's not like we're gonna smoke them.
Neither will the rats.
Tobacco is no joke. Cigarette smoke has over 7,000 chemicals. Learn more at thefactsnow.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. David Comstock continuing to lead this race, but not without incident, John. You saw it there on our corner-to-corner coverage. Comstock tagged the wall while leading, but still has a second lead over second place Pedro Mejica, Trey Edson in third there. But nonetheless, it goes to show you can run perfect and you can pull away, you can dominate the race, but if you make a small mistake, it could end it for you.
Oh, that wasn't a mistake, Ben. That's what we like to call on-track engineering adjustments.
So he was adjusting the aerodynamics, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. Well, see, he had he noticed an excess of weight on the car, so by scraping some paint off that right side a little bit, it's going to help him out a little bit. I'm just saying.
I got you. Okay. Well, nonetheless, it's working for him. He pulled 3/10 over Pedro Mejica that lap alone. So, Comstock definitely pulling away. But, John, let's take a look at lap times. He started this run virtually on lap 6 is when he got going good with a 51.5-second lap. And now that last lap there was a 54.6. So, over 3 seconds of drop-off. And that's on your leader alone. It's upwards of 4 seconds for some of the guys at the back and middle of the pack.
Absolutely. Comstock's got the clean air too, folks. So he's able to drive that car pretty much any way he wants to, coming into the turns and coming off the turns. Those guys back there in the dirty air are, going to be a lot tighter, have to back off a lot sooner going into the turns. So tire wear is a monster at this track. It really is. And Ben and I were talking over the break. This track favors people who can take care of their equipment on the long run. And when you get the long runs, you'll see those guys they'll be the ones making their way to the front, or in our case with Comstock, extending his lead at the front. Even though he is losing tires and speed, he's still booking it on.
Absolutely. Donnie Leah, our in-race reporter tonight here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, sits fourth after just snagging it from Chad Coleman.
And see, Donnie's another one of those guys, Ben. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Coleman back to fifth, and I was going to touch on Donnie Leah if he could have some luck and go a race without being involved in something early, John, as you were probably just about to mention, one of those drivers who's real good on the long runs.
Yeah, you read my mind, sir. I was going to say that we've seen it with Donnie in the past, and of course our missing points leader, Steve Sheehan, he's another one. These guys they really know how to take care of their equipment, Ben. They make the car last a lot longer, a lot of these guys on the track, and it doesn't seem like it because they don't get left behind. They're not giving up 10, 12 spots, but they're able to just really drive the car as smooth as possible and extend the life of those tires longer than most guys on track.
Here we go, John. Here's the circumstances we're facing right now. We know there's going to be 2 stops in this race, so we're at the 1/3 point of this race right now, and a handful of drivers on pit road. They're looking to split it up evenly, and I think that's a good strategy.
Absolutely. We were talking pre-race, you and I, about our fuel window being somewhere in the neighborhood of 23 or 28 laps. So like you said, it's going to be at least a 2-stop race. And everybody, I believe, stayed out under that caution early on.
Sorry to cut you off, Edson.
Go ahead. What happened?
Road, and Jordan Hightower running in the top 10 has crashed on pit road in the 25.
Oh, that's what we were talking about, Ben.
That's a
you
product.
You don't want to make mistakes.
That's a product of old tires trying to get it woed down the pit speed line here. Where pit road begins is a little bit further in, and it's really throwing these guys for a loop. And you see Hightower, he was just trying to get everything he could there, lock the rear tires up, a little bit too much rear brakes in it right there, and into the wall he goes.
Yeah, he got some significant damage. You touched on it right there, though, Ben. I heard a lot of these guys talking in practice that they were using the brake bias to help them turn down the corners as these tires got older. And what I'm guessing, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing Hightower had a lot of rear brake in that thing coming in the pits just now.
Absolutely, as boy, Comstock almost got the wall off turn 4. He had to get out of the throttle big time and lost a couple of tenths of seconds to Pedro Mejica. So pit stops beginning to take place here at Indianapolis as my producer makes fun of my wonderful grammar once I get going here and the tongue gets to moving so quick I don't know which way's up, which way's down. Nonetheless, though, some spectacular racing going on here, and boy, this is really going to heat things up with the strategies getting all mixed up here, John.
Absolutely. If this thing continues to go green without another caution, this is really going to spread the field out too, Ben. So we'll see, a whole bunch of different strategies here. Guys, I wouldn't say we're going to see anybody take 2, but I've seen weirder things happen.
Absolutely, and we'll see. Here comes Donnie Leah in the number 18. He's down pit road, and boy, if I'm Comstock, John, I'm talking to my crew chief. I'm saying, okay, when are we going to come down here? We
tires. I need tires.
Yeah, they're losing over 3 seconds a lap to the cars that have taken tires. You do the math, John. You stay out 5 laps extra than guys on new tires. That's 15 seconds you'll have to make up, if not more.
Absolutely. And he didn't have that big a lead coming into the pits, you know. So I'm with you. I'm thinking of pitting soon. I mean, he still has a couple of guys behind him that are, you know, haven't pitted yet, but I wouldn't stay out much longer. And Chad Coleman, he needs to pay attention to what's going on himself. He could come out of this race with a great points lead, so he doesn't want to, you know, make a mistake here and stay out too long himself.
The only way I would stay out, John, is if I was for sure going to make it to the halfway point, and we've done the calculations, and we just don't think that that is possible unless these guys pulled off a miracle under that first caution. Still, though, it'd be pretty close. It'd be cutting it real close.
Well, yeah, but you're also trusting my Louisiana math, Ben, so let's try and keep that in mind as well.
No, I'm pretty confident with your math, but, you know, we paced for about 4 laps there under that first caution, so you add that on to the round 26 mark that we were thinking, you know, it may be possible. Some of these guys may be able to stretch it. If you're Chad Coleman back here in third, he may have been saving fuel the whole run to try and make it to the halfway point. That's a possibility.
You're absolutely right, Ben. Looking at the math now and watching his
lap
times, he's been taking it off. Oh, he's coming in.
Comstock Mahika, yeah, and so
and he brought Coleman with him.
Yep, they've decided that now's the time to come. Boy, Coleman made up a lot of ground on pit road there. So here we go. Pit stops occurring, and that's going to give Jason Jacoby the lead for a brief moment here at Indianapolis. And boy, oh boy. Well, it's going to be interesting. Trey Edson was one of those first drivers on pit road, John, in the 10s, so I'm sure that he'll most likely grab the lead when everything cycles back around here at the 2.5 Mile Speedway in Indiana.
Yeah, looks that way. Just to keep the folks informed here, we've had 3 cars drop out of the race so far. Michael Keaton, Chris Gibu, and Sean Dewar. Chris Gabu, I apologize. Chris, you know, I don't do it on purpose, I promise. As I was saying, those 3 cars have dropped out, which means if Coleman finishes, even if he has a problem now, Ben, he could still walk away with the points lead from this race.
Absolutely. Michael Keaton was one of those cars that was involved in the caution. Sean Dewar had the wild moment there under caution, and Gabu losing internet connection. So up front, Jason Jacoby. Now, John Jacoby was down pit road not only when it opened, but a couple extra times over the course of that caution. So he could have filled up under the first caution, and he might be able to make it to halfway if he saved enough fuel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he even topped off before they went back to green. So even though his tires are giving up that time, his fuel mileage, Ben, will allow him to probably pull out a pretty decent finish. I'm not going to think he's going to win. He's just got way too much damage on the front of that car to be aerodynamically quick. But I think that if he stretches this thing to halfway, he can do it on one more stop. And who knows, he might pull himself out of top 10 for this.
Wow. So even if he does make it to halfway, he would still have to pit one more time, but it'd be a splash and go sort of instance there, John. We need to mention that. You can't make it 33 laps on a full tank, so you would have to come down. Even if it is a splash and go, it still could give him some good track position, you know, at the end of this deal. And he could be riding out just kind of like last night. He witnessed it in the JGR series, John. 2 drivers stayed out all the race when everybody else came to pit road. They got a lucky break with the caution flying just as they were about to come to pit road. It sets him up on the front row for a restart with under 30 laps to go.
Now, I don't know what his fuel situation is right now. I'm sure he's really close, but if he can stretch it to about lap 37, 38, Ben, he might even be able to do it on one stop.
That is correct, but it's a
stretch. I know.
Yeah,
I'm a dreamer,
stretch.
Ben. I'm a dreamer.
Let's see if we can get an onboard shot. He's almost. It sounds like he's cutting the car off at the end of the straightaways. Maybe he is thinking fuel strategy is going to be his way to win this race. Listen to him clutch it through turn number 2 there. Jacoby really trying to save some fuel.
I'm telling you, he's we call him Mr. Excitement and he's an exciting racer to watch. But I've talked to him, Ben. He's a smart kid. He really is. And I'm telling you, I think that's what he's planning. I really do. I think he's going to try and make this a one-stop run for him.
Or at least he's trying to extend the fuel that's in there that much more in case a caution were to wane.
And we've got another car out of the race. Nick Thames has dropped out, so oh, yep, Jacoby's coming in.
So there goes all that strategy we were talking about. Nathan Little will come with him, and Trey Edson going to inherit the lead here at Indianapolis, and he had about 7 seconds over David Comstock the last time around. We'll see once everything cycles back around what it's going to be next time at the line. But a good call for Edson there coming down early. We can expect him back down pit road in probably about 12 laps at the third of this race.
Yep, that sounds about right, Ben. I tell you what, I'm looking at the leaderboard here, and it's all shook up. So I think before I make my comment, I'm going to wait another lap, let it shake down a little bit more. But it looks to me like Rivera got by Comstock somewhere.
Well, now Comstock just back by Rivera.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned that. Yeah, Rivera
it
was.
It would help if I were on the live shot. Yes.
Yeah, Rivera was one of those drivers that pitted a little earlier, so he's going to have a little older tires than Comstock for this run. But nonetheless, Comstock back up to second. Edson is your leader. Comstock at the line this time is 5 seconds back from Edson. So he's going to catch him, John, but we're going to have to see if he runs his stuff out trying to do so. And if he does, or when he gets there, he's got to still get around that number 10 as well.
I don't think he's going to use his car up, Ben. We've watched David in the past. He's a smart driver, likes to take care of his stuff. I think he knows that time is on his side right now, to be honest with you. So I think we can probably watch him just continue to be smooth in, smooth off, and conserve as much as he can of those tires and extend the tire life as long as he can.
Absolutely. We certainly thank you for tuning in right here on the Sim Racing Network for the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series. John, we've just opened shop at the Sim Racing Network. If you head to our website, thesimracingnetwork.com, you can click on the shop button and visit our Teespring store. We have the Great Debate t-shirts, either nose to tail or tail to nose. Go ahead and buy one. Great Christmas gifts to show your part in the Great Debate. And boy, that would definitely be a conversation starter if you wore it to your local short track or NASCAR event. We also have a plethora of other apparel available. Just click the store button on the simracingnetwork.com. Trey Edson, your leader, getting in some lap traffic, and it comes with the form of that number 11 of Corey Chester. He's having a little bit of trouble getting around him, and that's slowing him up, allowing David Comstock to just inch away at that lead here, John.
Yep, little by little, that's all it takes. And I'm wondering what our viewers think of that debate there, Ben. We got a few of them on the YouTube channel they're watching. Why don't you guys chime in out there? Let us know. Is it nose to tail or tail to nose? What do you think?
I guess we have to add a third option in there, too. Bumper to bumper.
Bumper to bumper. Well, I'll tell you what, wow, that 11 car, or maybe that was just me turning the wrong way at the, looking at the screen awful, but it looked like the 11 got a little bit loose right outside of our leader just now.
Yeah, and the 11 of Chester has some damage on that right side, so he might have already been up into the wall. Could be affecting the steering on that machine, but Edson nonetheless going to be able to get clear of him for the time being, and that allows him to have a little breathing room, but before Comstock in the 42 gets back up to him. We'll have to see, John, because this is how it's going to shape out. If Edson is able to beat Comstock here to that 2/3 mark of the race, if Comstock doesn't catch him in about 10 laps or so, it's really looking good for Edson at the finish of this thing.
It is, but I'm watching these lap times of Comstock and Edson, and I don't know if it's Comstock taking it easy or what, but they're actually fairly even.
Yeah, and it could be Comstock just taking it easy here on the early run. He knows that his tires are 6-8 laps fresher than about 6 laps fresher than Edson. So, the veteran driver behind the wheel of that number 42 machine just doing what he has to do to slowly but surely just chip away at that lead little by little. How about this battle for third, though, John? Boy, if you Been watching this between Pedro Mejica, Donnie Leah, Chad Coleman, and even Nelson Rivera was up in the mix there for a brief moment. Mejica's just gotten around our in-race reporter, Donnie Leah, and here comes Chad Coleman into 20 trying to do the same. Now it'll be for 4th position if they battle down into 1.
So remember how we said that every time I say they're going to do something, they do the exact opposite? Look at Coleman, man. He's like, points lead, schmoys lead. I'm going to get up here and race. And that's exactly what he's doing. So he's going to take over that 3rd spot there.
Coleman a little bit fresher tires than Leah. Leah pushed up the racetrack in turn 1, and Coleman going to be able to take that position for now. But Leah, look at that draft down the back straightaway. Closes right back up to his rear bumper. I don't think he'll try to make the move, but he was letting him know that he's not falling back too far just quite yet. Oh, he almost went too far up the track.
Man, I tell you, my rookie season driving these cars a few years ago, Ben, I think it might have been Indy or it might have been, yeah, it was Indy. I let that draft get the better of me. You know, you get that draft and you're flying down the track, pulling up on this car, you're just hauling, but you forget there's a turn down there that you've got to go down for, you know? Yeah, it bit me pretty hard. I hit that wall I think I left the track actually on that impact. It's been a while though. Yeah, anyway, I digress.
Yeah, when you're in somebody's draft, you know you're 5, almost sometimes 10 miles per hour faster catching up to them at the end of the straightaways. It really does affect how you enter the turn and where your braking points are. You can't go in as far as you could if you were, 190 versus or 180 versus 190.
Yeah, and like I said, I've seen a couple of guys already tonight make that same mistake. They didn't hit the wall, thankfully for them, but you like I said, you just kind of forget that you've got a turn coming up that you're going to have to brake earlier for because you've got so much extra speed from that draft, and it's just something to keep an eye on for some of these guys.
Absolutely. Up front, here we go. The battle shaping up for the lead. It'll most likely be a quick one because Comstock has reeled in that 10 machine about 10 car lengths over the past lap, and he's right on his bumper as they race to the back straightaway. We'll see if Edson puts up a fight or if he's going to let Comstock get by pretty easily here. We'll see what happens as they race to turn number 3. Comstock closing up on the bumper of Edson. 2 different pitting strategies here. Ooh. One has come down early, one a little bit later, and here is Comstock all over the rear bumper of Edson.
That 10's looking like he's a little tight middle off there. Where's my Jaws theme, Mitchell Rollo? I'll tell you what, we could use it right there. But I think you're right. Look at that. He's not going to give it up. He's going to pinch him down, try and side draft him a little bit going down the front stretch here. But I think Comstock's going to take it going down to the 1 there, Ben.
Down into 1. Comstock going to take the lead. Oh, but he wiggles a little bit after getting on the rumble strip, the curb. But nonetheless, he's going to be able to clear the 10, and he'll start to open up his lead yet again here at Indianapolis as we close in on that 2/3 mark of this race. That'll come on lap number 44. We're working lap 40 of 60 right now. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. Back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Edson just getting past for the lead by Dave Comstock. Back in 3rd, it's Pedro Mejica, but John, I've been watching that 20 machine of Chad Coleman. He's slowly starting to stalk that number 90 machine on corner entry. Look at Coleman. He's real good on corner entry. Mejica a little bit better off. These guys are almost even, but I think Coleman a couple 100ths faster a lap, and we could have a battle shaping up for 3rd here in the next lap or so.
Absolutely, Ben. That 20 car is looking real strong. And I tell you what, you touched on earlier, those rumble strips down there. The thing about Indy is you've got to get as close to those things as you can before the apex of the turn to help that car turn left a little bit. Unfortunately, it's such a fine line. If you touch those things, it's going to loosen you up, but at the same time, it's going to shoot you to the outside wall there. But I've been watching Coleman, and I don't think he's had that problem yet.
Not yet is the key word there. Anything's possible in the remainder of this race. We've seen that all season long, and we've learned not to hold our breath on things just like that alone. We've had 1 caution in this race. It came on lap number 1 down in turn number 3, and that's been the only slowdown so far here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. from then on, it's been either David Comstock or Troy Edson swapping out the lead. Comstock better on the long runs. Edson was able to gain the lead on some short stop strategy with the pit stops. But now Dave Comstock has taken back over, and he's opened up his lead to about a second here on lap number 42. And John, pit stops coming up here pretty soon. We are expecting the 10 to come down around lap number 44, but we'll see now if Comstock is going to stay out a little later or if he comes down the same with everybody else.
If I'm David Comstock, this time I'm probably going to try and guess when these guys are coming in and try and get in there with them. I don't think he wants to risk trying to have to run down Edson again like he just did with so little time left in the race. He could try and hope for a caution, you know, to bunch him back up. But I don't think he wants to do that. So I think he's going to play it smart. In the meantime, you got to kind of wonder what Mojica and Coleman back there in third and fourth are going to want to do.
Yeah, it's beginning to
look a lot like Christmas.
Yeah, well, that too is Christmas only now less than 10 days away. Thanks for reminding me. A week away. It's beginning to really shake things up here with pit strategy. Merry Christmas, everybody, from the Sim Racing Network.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I'll tell you what, I'm looking at these lap times of Comstock. It's just amazing how he's so consistent been around this track. And Indy's not an easy track to be consistent around, but he is, man. He's like super, super consistent with his lap time.
Just kind of looking through the field here, John, wondering, you know, which one of these drivers could play a little strategy, as we've got a battle for eighth between the 46 of J.D. Laird and Bobby Terrell, and you even have Mike Kelly in the mix there, and Joey Jatina in the 14 starting to close in on these guys. So a four-car battle for a spot inside the top 10 shaping up off corner number 2 as you see a little cloud cover come over the racetrack. That'll cool things down and give these guys a little bit more grip to kind of be a little bit more risky for a couple seconds. As good battle now is between Terrell and Kelly, that 5 and 2 as they work down into turn number 3. And boy, Jatina's really caught the tail end of these guys over the past lap or so, John. He's looking good on the long runs in that 14.
He absolutely is. And Ben, something we haven't talked about in a while, track temperature, 123 degrees, man. And the 5 car has said enough. I'm coming down pit road, get some tires.
And he's got some company. Corey Chester, Nelson Rivera, a couple of guys already down pit road. Jordan Hightower, who has just had a sour night ever since he's gotten into the wall. He's still sitting on pit road trying to get that damage fixed. Up front, Edson. Did he come down pit road, John?
Yeah, I just said he's on pit road, and I can't tell, but it looks like he's got some right side damage, man. I think he might have gotten into the wall somewhere.
Could have been the case, and he was close to not making it into his pit box all the way there. Quite a bit to the right, but he did get it in there and got all 4 tires changed. We'll see if we can scroll back on our replays and see if we can see any contact with that number 10. Doesn't look like it slowed him down, though, as he gets back up to speed.
Comstock's on pit road. Our leader's on pit road now, Ben. I'm sorry, didn't mean to walk over you there.
Nope, leader down pit road, and he's bringing almost everybody with him behind him. So he pulls into his stop. Oh, he overshot a little bit there, John.
Man.
That's about a second or two on the racetrack.
And we've said it time and time and time again on our broadcast, Ben. Pit road is the bane for these drivers. It's their weak spot. They just all the time we've seen it. They give a race away on pit road. I don't think it's gonna be that bad for Comstock because he's been pretty smooth and pretty fast. But that's just a costly mistake as the 10 car passes it up right there coming off pit road.
So now they're pretty even on tires. Edson only 1 lap older tires in that number 10 machine. Comstock, he's gonna have, oh man, just 20 laps to reel in that 10 machine, and we'll keep an eye on that battle as it shakes up over the next couple of laps. And we're still waiting for everything to kind of cycle around here. Mike Kelly being scored as the leader right now in that number 2 machine. He's still out on the racetrack, John. He could be one of those drivers hoping for a caution to try and gain some track position.
I believe you're right on that one. He's hoping for anything. Mike Kelly hasn't had a good run as of late either. So for a while there, Chad Coleman led, so he got some extra points. Do they give extra points for leading in this series?
I don't think so.
Okay, that shows my age right there, folks. I've been around NASCAR and sim racing for a long time. They used to give bonus points for lap led or a bonus point for most laps led, but I think you're right there, Ben. I don't think they do that anymore. Oh well.
If they did, though, David Comstock would be racking up quite a bit.
Yes, he would. I think stage points is what replaced that basically in real world, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Mike Kelly going to come down to pit road in the 2. He'll surrender the lead to Chad Coleman, it looks like, who is just in an absolute swarm of cars back here. Look at this gaggle with Coleman, Chester, Rivera, O'Rourke, Daly, and Jacoby all in a hornet's nest, you like to say, John, as they work down the front straightaway.
That's quite a gaggle of cars. I believe I heard you refer to it that way before.
Yep.
In the meantime, back up front, looks like Wetzel's being scored as our leader now. I don't think he's pitted yet, which is good to see. He had a rotten turn of luck earlier in this race, Ben, on what was it, lap 1, lap 2, when he got involved in that first incident. So it's good to see him out front getting a little bit of lead time.
He's only 4 seconds ahead of Edson, though, who is the first car
I didn't
on
say it was
4
going to last a
tires.
long time. I just said he was up there leading.
But if the caution were to come out right now, he'd be in pretty
doing
good
good. He would be doing good. And tell you what, that little pit road incident that Comstock had cost him a grand total of, it looks like, almost 4 seconds, because he was almost a second and a half ahead of Edson before the pit stops, and now he's about 2 seconds behind. No, sorry, 1.6 seconds behind. So it cost him a little bit of time there, like I said.
Yeah, and keep in mind, he is on a little fresher tires than Edson, but not by much. Up at the front, Bobby Wetzel going to lose the lead. Trey Edson going to take it on lap number 49 here at Indy. And David Comstock in that 42. He has led a good majority of this race. He is doing everything he can to reel in that 10 machine, but still saving as much as he can in case this thing goes green all the way to the checkered flag, which is what we'll take you to next as Wetzel heads to pit road. We head to corner coverage. You're watching Sim 500 on the Sim Racing Network.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, Watson, let's analyze the chemicals in this cigarette smoke. Cadmium?
Check.
Formaldehyde?
Check.
Arsenic?
Sir, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Yeah, isn't arsenic what they use in rat poison?
Oh, what was I thinking, sir? It's not like we're gonna smoke them.
Neither will the rats.
Tobacco is no joke. Cigarette smoke has over 7,000 chemicals. Learn more at thefactsnow.com.
The battle for the lead is shaping up here in the Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series Sim 500 action at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dave Comstock, who is on a slightly different pit stop schedule than Trey Edson, is starting to reel in the number 10, and now I think he's got a whiff of the draft as they work down the front straightaway, John.
Yeah, I bet right now Edson is really wishing that he had a little bit better tires, because Comstock's just slowly reeling him in. He's made up anywhere between 2 to 3 tenths of a second every lap. So I think we're going to have a race here in about the next lap or so. And again, if we had some Jaws theme music, that would be perfect.
Here he comes. Comstock is closing on the bumper of that number 10 as they work down into turn number 3. He is there in the middle of the turn. Comstock, when does he make the move? It's 13 laps to go this time by at Indy, and I don't think that Edson's going to be able to hold him off for 13 more circuits. Around the 2.5 mile, Edson almost got the wall. He had to get out of the throttle, and now they're side by side for the lead.
Did you say drag race down the front stretch? Because that's what we've got going down in turn 1 here. But I think Comstock's going to make that pass and pull it off right there. And I don't think Edson's really got a whole lot for him there, Ben. So it looks like it's going to be Comstock's race to win there, or lose.
Unless Edson's been saving a lot of tires, it's going to be Comstock to open that lead up in the number 42 machine as they race to the back straightaway. Comstock, he has had a picture-perfect race for the most part. Had the incident on pit road where he slid through his box, was able to overcome that, regain the lead. He tapped the wall earlier in the race, and that really didn't affect the 42 at all. He has just been dominant here at the Brickyard, and he is looking to go to victory lane as we ride on board with Trey Edson, who sees that 42 starting to get a little bit smaller and smaller out that windshield.
I told you, Ben, that wasn't contact with a wall. It was an on-track engineering adjustment. And I was right. No, I'm telling you, that 42 looks real good out there. Hey, let me ask you something, Ben. Do you think Edson might be offended if I offer him a Monster Energy drink?
Oh, wow. Well, if you're going to do that, you got to give David Comstock a shopping spree to Bass Pro Shops.
And Bass Pro Shops, yeah. I'm sorry, viewers, if my humor rubs y'all the wrong way, but you know this race has been pretty good though. I feel bad for Edson because he's tried everything to take that lead and keep it, but he's just I don't know, man. Comstock's just a really smooth drive around Indianapolis.
Yeah, you can play tire strategy, fuel strategy all you want, but if the cars don't shake out the way you need them to, then the dominant guy is going to come out on top, and that dominant guy tonight is David Comstock in the number 42. Just look how smooth he is around this racetrack, John. We don't see that 42 get loose. We don't see him push up the racetrack. It's almost picture perfect every corner, same line, same braking points, same turn-in points, smooth and steady in and out for the 42.
And that's exactly what it takes, Ben, to be fast at Indy. I mean, you've got to be consistent excuse me, with your braking points. Those are very important. You said it earlier. You touched on it when you talked about, you know, hitting that apex just right, because if you don't, you're going to be shot for 2 or 3 laps after that trying to make it back up. So he's really I'm not taking anything away from Trey Edson. Edson is a fantastic driver in his own right. I just think that we're seeing a really good demonstration of how to get around Indy today by the 42 car.
Absolutely, and he crosses the line this time. 10 laps, 25 miles left here at Indy, and you see Jacoby getting by Edson there. That's not for position. Jacoby sits 23rd on the racetrack now. For those wondering, he's got a little bit fresher tires. He's on a different pit strategy than everybody else. He's trying to get his lap back the hard way. Still 22 cars on the lead lap, John, as we take a look at the current standings brought to you by RacingBids.com. It's Comstock at the front of the field. Edson's at second. Mahika in third, comfortably over Donnie Leah, who has fourth. Chad Coleman sits fifth. It's Tommy Ryan in sixth. Seventh is Nelson Rivera. J.D. Laird is eighth. Ninth, E.J. O'Rourke. And Byron Daly rounds out the top 10. Some notables from 11th through 20th there. Joey Jatina running 11th. Mike Kelly in 12th. And you see Bobby Wetzel, the driver who was involved in that first incident, brought out the first caution. He scored back in 20th. And the rest of the field scrolls across your screen. Now, we had 36 drivers take the green flag tonight, John, so another huge field for some great action here at Indy.
Yes, sir. And I'm watching this fight for 10th between Byron Daly and Joey Katina. It looks like Joey's going to pull down the inside, trying to pass up Byron going down there in turn 1. Another thing I wanted to touch on real quick, Ben, as we watch this fight for 10th, is Chad Coleman is in 5th. He looks to have himself a great points night tonight if he can finish there.
Absolutely, and Byron Daly, a good comeback for the driver of that 08, John, and boy, did they get close.
I like how you screamed my name when there was a wreck on track. What you trying to say there, buddy? What's going on with that? No,
Just
you're
trying
right.
to get your attention.
I'm awake, believe me. That was a close call right there, man. Daly's not giving that spot up. Beaten and bruised as his car is right now, he doesn't want to give up 10th, and I can't blame him. He's had some bad luck in the last couple of weeks as well. But, man, look at that fight, boy. I tell you what, race admin or not, he's not giving it up. Oh, he got into the wall just a little bit there. That's going to let the 2 close up on his back door also.
He was a winner here at Indy in the Winter Series on Sunday night and felt really good here in the FEG Series, but involved in that first lap melee down in turn number 3 has mired him off the pace and with, like you said, a bruised and damaged car in that 08. Here comes Mike Kelly, fresh tires in that too, or fresher tires in that too. Going to try and get around Jatina for that 10th spot. Jatina going to fight him hard here. He wants a spot. He wants to finish top 10 in this one.
I was going to say, he just got finished fighting with Daly for that spot, and as he gets passed by the 2 car, it almost opened up the door for Daly to get back by him down there, but nah, he shuts the door on him in 14th. A short-lived time in the top 10, but he's still having a pretty good run there, the 14 car with Joey Katina.
A great run if he's able to hold on to 11th here tonight at Indy. Throughout the most of the field, everybody spread out all around the 2.5 mile speedway. A small battle going on between Campbell and Wetzel back for the 18th position. Oh, Campbell up and into the wall into 44. Sideways on the front straightaway. That was a close call. And boy, if that would have been an incident to bring out one of those yellow flags, boy, that would have that would have changed the face of the race for sure.
We don't want that right now. Let's finish thing on the green, man. And by the way, folks, for those of you that are keeping up, Jacoby unlapped himself the hard way by driving around the 42 car of Comstock earlier. So put Jason Jacoby back on the lead lap. Good for him. But meanwhile, up front, Comstock's just stretched that lead out over Edson there. 1.5 seconds now, Ben.
1.5 back to Edson. 6 seconds back to Mahika. 6.5 back to Donnie Leah in the number 18. And all the way, got to go 10 seconds back to Chad Coleman in that number 20. It has been all David Comstock in this race tonight, and he is just showing pure dominance for that number 42 machine today. This time by 5 more circuits around the Brickyard for Comstock, and he's going to have this one wrapped up.
Yep, all he has to do is just continue to be consistently smooth. Don't take any chances with any of these lap cars. Give him plenty of room, and this race is his. He's got a big enough lead over Edson right now that he really doesn't need to take any unnecessary risks or chances, and he'll walk away with the win. And like I said earlier, Coleman still sitting back there in 5th. He's got a couple of seconds over the guy in 6th, so if he can wrap this up where he's at, he's going to have a great little points lead coming out of this thing, Ben.
Absolutely, and we'll try and update you with the points as soon as we can if it's available at the end of the broadcast. My oh my, some good runs for quite a few of these drivers in the top 10 tonight. Pedro Majica, good run for the driver of the number 90. John, remember he and Sheehan got into it at Charlotte just a couple weeks ago while battling for the lead, and that really kind of put Sheehan in a position where he had to be on defense, and tonight not even showing up for the race is not going to help him in the championship standings. He'll lose the points lead leaving Indianapolis tonight. Donnie Leah in that number 18, we talked to him on the pace lap here at Indy, and he said he was looking to turn his luck around. He's had a string of bad races, and finally gonna look to turn that around, finishing 4th here, or sitting 4th right now, looking to finish 4th here tonight. Nelson Rivera in that 22, it'll be a good run for that driver who is still in contention for the championship if some of the drivers in front of him have some problems. J.D. Laird in that 46, a good run, and then E.J. O'Rourke in the 41, battling with Mike Kelly for that 9th position. Both of these drivers having a fantastic run inside the top 10.
I don't think O'Rourke wants to give it up. You saw him weaving down the stretch there, trying to break that draft off of Mike Kelly in the 2 car, but Mike's right up on the back bumper of him. I think Mike Kelly's going to get that position here shortly.
All over the bumper of the 41, and he pulls to the inside. They'll go side by side, almost contact over in turn number 4. And look at this drag race down the front stretch between these 2 drivers with just 3 laps to go here at the Brickyard.
I tell you what, I can't believe the 41 pulling like that down the stretch there, but like I say, he's got the 2 cars, Mike Kelly's got the preferred line going down through the turn into the short chute right there, so he's going to take that spot away from EJ O'Rourke. And I tell you what, O'Rourke's another one, Ben, that's had some rough runs these last couple of weeks, but he's looking to bring himself home in a top 10. That'd be a good finish for him.
Absolutely, and still drafting with Kelly down the back straightaway, and the driver who's kind of closing back into these guys while they battle out is Joey Jatina, trying to make his way back into a top 10 position and put himself in contention for a top 10. Up front, though, still David Comstock. He got the 2 to go signal right there. He's got a 2-second lead over Trey Edson, and it doesn't look like that's going to diminish anytime soon. Couple lap machines in front of Comstock he's got to deal with. Well, one really here. It's the 21 of Bothwell. Jacoby is on fresher tires. We're on board with David Comstock here, John, as he gets set to head through 3 and 4. This time by the flag stand. He'll see that white flag signifying one more lap here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, like I said, he's just going to take it easy right here with this lap car. There's no need for him to risk getting up there and getting tangled up with him. He's going to give this guy plenty of room to try and get around him here. So this is his race to win or lose right here. He's got 1 lap to go, and it's all over for him, and he's looking great right now.
Final lap here at Indy, and John, we mentioned the 2 very, very slight mistakes that he made in this race, and those are the only 2 times that he really ever broke his rhythm. One was getting up and scraping the wall off turn 4. The other on pit road where he slid past his box just slightly. None of those seem to affect the 42. It definitely hasn't slowed him down. He continues to pull away from the 10 machine even on the final lap, and through 3 and 4. Just 2 more clean corners. A dominant performance, one of the most dominant performances we've seen all season long here in the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series. Off turn number 4, David Comstock, smooth in that number 42. He will kiss the bricks at Indy and win in Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series action.
I tell you what, that was fun to watch. I'm sorry it took so long to reply there. I was just looking at a couple of races back here in the back of the pad. But yeah, I tell you what, Comstock dominated this race, Ben. Just pure domination, really. Nothing against Trey Edson, but man, that was a show right there of how to get around Indy and get it done right.
Edson going to come up and give him a congratulatory donut on the side of that number 42 machine. Edson, a good run in second. Mahika, a good run in third. Dunningley, a 4th, and 5th to Chad Coleman. But my, oh my, pure dominance. The story of the night for David Comstock, and he'll head to the front straightaway to celebrate his victory here in the Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series here at Sim500 Action, live on the Sim Racing Network. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk to the dominant driver of the race and the rest of the podium finishers right after this. You're watching the Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series from Indianapolis, where David Comstock has dominated right here on the Sim Racing Network.
analyze the chemicals in this cigarette smoke. Cadmium?
Check.
Formaldehyde?
Check.
Arsenic?
Sir, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Yeah.
Oh, what was I thinking, sir? It's not like we're gonna smoke them.
Neither will the rats.
Tobacco is no joke. Cigarette smoke has over 7,000 chemicals. Learn more at thefactsnow.com.
The most realistic online race.
Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where David Comstock has just put a pure show of dominance on here tonight at the 2.5 mile speedway. John Mushton, though, has caught up with the driver who finished 5.5 seconds back. Couldn't quite get up to the bumper of the 42 there late in the run. Finished third, though, John. A good run for Pedro Mejica.
That's right, Ben. I'm down here. I've caught up to Pedro. Pedro, my friend, congratulations on a third-place run. That's not a bad thing here at Indy, buddy. Why don't you talk to us about your run?
Oh, I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, just starting the race. We started third, had a great qualifying effort. That's obviously really big here is a track position, especially when you're racing guys like we are in this league. So I just try to manage staying up front, staying close to the guys, and not burning my right front off. Pretty good. First up,
we apologize for that, folks. A little technical difficulty there with the microphone. Pedro, you back yet there, bud?
Yeah, you got me?
Yeah, we got you now, man. Sorry about that. Well, Pedro, I wanted to talk to you, man. You've had some pretty bad luck the last few weeks. Got involved in a little incident racing for the lead at Charlotte. So it must feel pretty good to bring home third this time, kind of relatively scratch-free.
Yeah, the Charlotte deal, that was a bummer. But it was just a hard racing incident. Me and Shan talked after. I mean, no hard feelings. It's just one of those deals. We knew that was for the win. So, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I wanted to have a good solid race and just be in contention there at the end. And like I said, we had a good chance. Just had a bad pit stop in the first round of pit stops on the green and lost a lot of time there.
Well, still, my friend, third place is an awesome finish. Anybody want to thank for it?
Yeah, I'd like to thank JDR Graphics for all his support, JD Laird, and what he does with his graphical wondering. All the boys back on TeamSpeak on the Swan campus, and thank you to you guys for what you guys do, and everybody at Sim500 for putting on a great league.
Well, thank you very much, Pedro, for taking time to talk with us, man. Congratulations on your third place run. We'll let you get back to celebrating with your team. Ben, I'm going to throw it back up to you for a second while I go track down our second place runner.
Fun stat tonight, John. The driver who started third finished third. The driver who started second finished second. And the driver who started on the pole finished on the pole. You're going to chat with Trey Edson. Boy, John, he was right there. When it came down to the end of things, just didn't quite have enough rubber left on that number 10.
That's right, Ben. I have caught up with Trey. A little dejected, Trey Edson, but Trey, come on, man. Second place is not a bad run. You had to lead him a little bit there, but I just don't think anybody had anything for David Comstock tonight, man. Why don't you talk to us about your run?
Yeah, you hit a nail on the head. I knew I was I couldn't save the tires. I know that sounds weird coming from me, but for whatever reason, I couldn't save the right front tonight. So I tried the first run, and David still pulled away, so I knew I had to do something different. So I tried to split it into two stops kind of evenly, 66-lap race. So I was like 22, 44, and go to the checkered. I think I caught David off guard the first time because I had like a 10-second lead, and I knew he was going to catch me, but I was trying to do the math in my head of how quick will he get here. And then I tried to do it again, and he just was he made the smart decision and pretty much pitted a lap later, so I couldn't get that huge gap. I needed him to run about 5 or 10 more, so It is what it is. Yeah, I think I had like a fourth place car, to be honest with you. I'm not very good here. So to short pit and jump Pedro and jump Donnie, I mean, second place. It's started second, finished second. Best car won the race. So it is what it is. I can't complain with second.
Well, there you have it, folks. And I tell you what, Trey, it was fun to watch you out there. The strategy, Ben and I were talking in the booth. The strategy thing is what you got to do. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to try and win these things, and it almost paid off for you. Is there anybody you want to thank for your second place run?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to take Ford Entertainment Group, you guys, for doing a great job as always. I'm glad of the news that broke today. We're starting to do more with you guys. I think you guys do a great job. I was telling Joey. I know we might be short on time, but you guys just do a great job of following each series, and you remember everything. Like you kind of relate to the drivers, so it makes the broadcast better. You're not out there clueless with not knowing what happened last week or remembering who we are. So I told Joey, great job today, and I appreciate you guys coming on board. So I'm looking forward to 2019 and you guys being a part of it.
Well, thank you for those kind words, Trey. We really do appreciate it, and we appreciate you taking time to talk to us down here. And congratulations once again on your second place run. Ben, I'm going to throw it over to you. I think you've tracked down our winner for the Old Schools Graphics and Designs Victory Lane interview.
That I have, David Comstock. Not much to talk about tonight because he just stunk up the field. A dominant run here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Didn't lead every lap, but that was due to some tire strategy. Man, David, what a run! Started on the pole, led a majority of the laps, and here we are in Victory Lane at Indy. How's it feel?
It's a long time coming for this series. There's a few I probably have had taken away from me before prior to this one, but can't say a better place to more of a privileged place to win the first one for the series here at Indy.
Absolutely. Now we take a couple weeks off, and then we head back to a pretty a big Speedway Auto Club. We're looking forward to that. Talk about the race though tonight, man. You see Edson, he short pitched it on that first stop. Were you worried there? Did you have any thought there to kind of come down the lap right after he did, or what made you stay out those extra couple laps?
I stayed out just to make sure that we had enough fuel to make it to where it wasn't going to have us to run out at the end there. We don't have full fuel, like 18 gallons in the car, so it's like around 13. And I wasn't sure exactly how far our gas mileage was, like how far we can go on a tank, what we had. So I wanted to run a few more laps to make sure that we can at least get past where we could just run 20 laps out to the end and not have to worry about if we run out of fuel, if it goes green all the way to the end. So I knew the tire advantage was going to be pretty big, but I didn't think it was going to be that big. And I saw that he had pulled 10 seconds on me prior to me pitting, or after I had pitted coming out. And I saw that gap, and I'm just like, there's no way in hell I'm running him down. But then the tire fall off, just seeing it, it took me, I don't know, 10, 15 laps or so for me to pretty much have to run to run him down and get by him. And then the tires kind of equalized. So it barely played out.
Barely played out, but it played out just enough to put you in Victory Lane here tonight at the Brickyard. Who do you want to thank for putting you here tonight?
I would like to thank RacingBiz.com. If you go to Facebook and search up the page there at RacingBiz.com, they hold live auctions every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So you can go and put your bids in to go try to win some hero cards or some racing merchandise, memorabilia, pieces of cars, die casts, whatever they've got there that they're selling. You can go put your bids in to go try to win some cool stuff. Moss Energy, Gear Mercer Trucking, JD Laird, JDR Graphics for Paint My Car, Hick and Jix, EJ Brakes, all the friends and fans watching, you guys broadcasting. Appreciate it. Thanks.
There you have it. Dave Comstock. Enjoy the holidays, Dave. We'll see you back in a couple weeks.
Thanks.
Dave Comstock, winner here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And John, you think he's done a couple of interviews or two before?
No, not at all. He's not like a rookie. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's done quite a few, and because he's good. I mean, the guy, he knows how to get around these tracks. He's a very veteran driver. Is that what I'm trying to say? He's a veteran driver, so yeah, he knows how to get around these tracks.
If I'm not mistaken, he is one of the he might be the leader in wins at Sim500 competition. So that shows you how good he is. David Comstock picks up another one here tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's take a look at those final finishing results. Comstock with the win. Edson comes home second. 3rd to Pedro Mejica, Donnie Leah 4th, Chad Coleman 5th, Tommy Ryan 6th, 7th to Nelson Rivera 8th, JD Laird 9th will be Mike Kelly, and EJ O'Rourke rounds out the top 10. The rest of the field going to scroll across your screens. The finishing results brought to you by RacingBids.com. But that's going to do it for Indianapolis tonight here, John. We take a couple weeks off, and then we come back with Auto Club, another fun track of kind of sort of similar to Michigan. And if it puts on a show like Michigan did, boy, we're in for a treat.
Absolutely. I tell you what, the Auto Club, though, is a tricky track. I mean, it looks just like Michigan from above, you know, same shape, same length. But, man, I don't know. There's just something about turns 1 and 2. To me, it feels like it's so, your car gets so tight going through 1 and 2. And let's not forget our adventures in the K&N car and our old series that we used to run together. And that apron down there in 3 and 4, if I'm not mistaken, has had fun with you and I in the past, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I don't want to get anywhere near that apron. Kind of like the rumble strips tonight here in Indianapolis. Don't want to touch those. Nonetheless, though, we're going to take a few weeks off here at the Sim Racing Network. We'll still be working behind the scenes, and you can still stay up to date with us on our Facebook page. All you have to do is search the Sim Racing Network on Facebook. Be sure to check out our website, our new online store, thesimracingnetwork.com. And subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/The Sim Racing Network. John, though, we get ready to head out for Christmas for the next week or so. Then we got to celebrate New Year's and all that fun stuff. Some great times coming up with the family, some good food to be consumed. Any final thoughts, though, from tonight here at Indy?
Well, it was a great race, Ben. As usual, it's always a pleasure to be up here in the booth with you, with Mitch screaming in my ear. I want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to bring these broadcasts to you. I want to wish you all out there a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And please remember, if you're going to drink, let somebody else drive. None of this drink responsibly stuff. If you're going to put a beer or wine or something in your hand, let somebody else have your keys, folks. And Ben, I think that's about it, buddy.
Sounds good. Well, we hope you have a great holiday. We hope you have a great Christmas from all of us here at the Sim Racing Network. We'll see you in a couple weeks' time. But for John Mush and Mitch Rollo, I am Ben Kilcrease saying good night from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Remember, when you're out there on the roads, to put that phone down. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Happy holidays from us here at the Sim Racing Network.